It is the Chamber's great privilege to welcome Bill Burke to Eggs and Issues.
Thank you. There you go. They play that wherever I go. Thank you very much, and thanks to the Chamber for this opportunity. It's great to be here today. You're right, my dad would have been too kind to tell that joke to you. He wouldn't have spared me of a comment like that, though, I can assure you. It was mentioned in my bio that I used to work for Ted Turner, and as you might imagine, he gave a lot of speeches in front of groups like this, and you're always on pins and needles about what he might say that you would have to either clarify or apologize for the next day. And one time when I first started at the company, it was about 20 years ago, he was honored by a group, it was a trade association in the business called Women in Cable. And so it was kind of fraught with peril. And a big group and long introduction, and Ted took the stage and he grabbed his award and he said, "It's great to be here and get this honor from a group that represents two things I love, women and cable." I'd like to say I feel the same way about both eggs and issues. And so I thank you for having me here today. And I also thank the Chamber for all you do in our community, making this a better place to live and work. You mentioned my father, and he passed away back in October, and there are a lot of people in this room we heard directly from. My family and I really appreciate the sympathy and concern and all the support that you gave him through the years. He was not a native Mainer. He was from away. He was a summer person and was really embraced by this community, and I thank you for that. I also know that when there's a passing like this or even a resignation of a founder, there can be a concern that the organization might lose a step or slip back a little bit. And I have a quick story to assure you that that won't be the case. My mother, as you might imagine, was deluged with cards and notes after my father passed away. And maybe a day or two after the funeral, I would check in with her to make sure she's doing okay. And usually I'd say, "Oh, I heard from so-and-so," and she'd say, "I heard from so-and-so," and she got to laughing. I said, "What's so funny?" She said, "Well, I got a letter very nice note from Larry Lucchino." And those of you who know the Red Sox, Larry Lucchino is the team president, one of the owners, and probably one of the tougher guys, frankly, in the organization. She said he wrote me a really sweet note and how much Dan meant to the organization, and he ended it with, "If there's ever anything the Red Sox can do for you, please don't hesitate to ask." And she's still sort of chuckling. I said, "What's so funny?" She said, "Well, I wrote him back." She insisted on responding to every card. She said, "I wrote him back. I said, thanks for your note." And she said, "As for what you can do for the Sea Dogs, could you start by sending us some better players next year?" She said, "I hope Larry thinks that's funny." "I do too, Mom." We still don't know. So with the time I have today, and I'm eager to get you out on time with this group here. If I keep you late, it's going to have an impact on our local GDP, I'm afraid. Three things I'd like to cover, time permitting. One, I'd just quickly like to describe our business model, how the Sea Dogs work, because I know there's some confusion about relationships with the city and the Red Sox, that sort of thing. What we hope is our economic impact on the region and the benefits we provide this community. And if I have time, just a few general thoughts that I have on the business community here in Portland. And before I start talking specifically about the Sea Dogs, I want to explain that I take no credit. I'll do a little bragging about the team, and I take no credit for any of our success. I've only been involved for a few years, and I do the easy stuff. The hardworking people are Charlie Eschbach and Jeff Iaquesa and their staff. So if I sound braggy, I'm bragging on them, not myself. So how does our business work? It's really a couple of important partnerships that you need to understand. When my dad started the team, Mike explained, there was no ballpark. There was a ballpark, but it was Hadlock Field, which was a high school field, nowhere near up to minor league standards. So from day one, there was a partnership struck between the city of Portland and the Portland Sea Dogs. So the city owns Hadlock Field, and we have a lease. And that's an important relationship to understand. And thankfully, over the years, through several town councils and mayors, unelected and now elected, we've had a great relationship with the city, and we hope we've earned their trust over the years. And then we have a relationship with the Red Sox, and I want to explain this because I read the other day someone said that we used to be owned by the Marlins and now we're owned by the Red Sox. We are an independent company based here in Maine. We have a license to operate a AA baseball franchise, and we have a relationship with the Red Sox. They have no ownership interest in us. There is no financial relationship. It is simply a player development contract that we have 3 years left on that, and we'll extend on the outer years as we go forward. And so the way to think about it, if you're in the ballpark, what happens between the lines is controlled by the Red Sox. The Red Sox draft the players, trade for the players, pay the players, hire the manager, fire the manager, set the lineups, all that stuff. So we have nothing to do, frankly, with what happens on the field. Now, if they have a great season, we're happy to take credit for that. And last year, we had nothing to do with the poor results. And then, as you work your way back or across the walls, that's us. So we sell the advertising, we sell the food, we hire Slugger, who was here earlier today. I think he's taking a break. I was on Ken and Mike earlier, and they asked me if Slugger was a Republican or a Democrat. I said he was unenrolled. We're not even sure if he's naturalized and can vote. But so that's how it works. So if you think about it, we are in the business of creating an environment for our fans and selling advertising and hopefully good food, and that's how it works. Now, the constituents that we care about are really threefold. It starts with our fans, and from day one, my dad's dream was to provide an affordable, safe, family-friendly place to come out on a spring or summer night and enjoy some time with your family. So we're very proud that these many years later, our top ticket is still $9, $4 for kids and seniors, and it's frankly, in most cases, cheaper than going to the movies. And we hope we provide a really good value for that money. We try to keep the stadium clean. We try to keep the language clean. And that's really how we try to keep our fans happy. Keeping fans happy actually helps keep the Red Sox happy. If you look at what they're looking for, they've made significant investments in these ball players. And a big part of our job is creating an environment for them to develop and hopefully show up at Fenway one day. And if you're a fan, you know you've seen a lot of great players come through Portland. It's one of the thrills of being involved with this team. So one of the things they really care about is having a full ballpark. Because if these guys are good enough, they're going to be in a very full ballpark, several times larger in Fenway and elsewhere. So having fans that are in the ballpark, into the game, cheering loudly is a big plus. It's also important to have a good physical environment. And a few years ago, we faced a bit of a potential impasse with the Red Sox because we didn't have proper training facilities in a clubhouse that was up to their standards. And thankfully, with the cooperation of the city, we were able to build a new clubhouse. And the Red Sox, knock on wood, remain very happy with the relationship they have here. So that's how that works. The third partnership that's very important to us is our corporate partners, and there are many of you in the room today. And so what we try to do with you is hopefully create an environment where your message is getting out in a positive environment. We create hopefully special creative opportunities that you can't get just buying time on television or radio or buying a print ad. So creative promotions that are a lot of fun, that are presented to people who are in a great state of mind to be marketed to, frankly. So hopefully we've done a good job with that. Secondly, I'd like to talk a little bit about what we hope are the economic impacts of having this team here in Portland. Jobs, we'll start there. We have, depending on how you count it, we have about 12 to 14 year-round staff. But as we begin the season now, we will ramp up to a seasonal employee total of over 225 people. These are jobs that are provided for. We have a lot of retirees who work at the ballpark. I got an email just this morning from a friend whose son will have his first job at the Sea Dogs this summer. He just got his first work schedule. And I don't know about you, but for me, that gives me a lot of pleasure to provide a place for a kid to have that first summer job. We think that's really important here in town. We hope that having a ball club here, particularly a Red Sox affiliate, is good for our quality of life. A lot of you as employers are probably hiring people from away. I know when I moved here from Atlanta, having season tickets to the Braves, it's a nice plus to have great minor league sports here in town, ourselves and also the Red Claws and the Pirates. I think it's a plus to have a place in the summertime that you can go to and really hopefully enhances the quality of life. We also try to do a lot with our charitable partners, and we're thrilled that the Maine Children's Cancer folks are here today. The Strikeout Cancer and Kids program is one that, if you think about it, we just facilitate that program, and it's one of the great things about having a ball club, that it creates an environment where you can have a program like this. And I believe we've raised over $4 million for Maine's Children Cancer since we started the program. That's no small amount of money. And that, again, that's not money that we necessarily raise. We created an environment for that to happen. And so that's hopefully what having a ball club here in town does. Hopefully it's also a great place for you to entertain clients and have your corporate outing and bring someone you're interviewing. Or, there are real business opportunities to socialize and get together. One of the great things about baseball is that it's a very social sport to go to. We have some fans who are riveted to the game, but frankly, in the 5th inning, there are a lot of people there who have no idea what the score is. And that's just fine, as long as they're having a good time. And so we hope that we create that opportunity for you as well. The other thing that's really taken off, I think, since we've become the Red Sox affiliate, we were originally the Florida Marlins affiliate for years. And by the way, with no affinity in this market for Florida, we were a very successful operation as a Marlins affiliate, then became the Red Sox affiliate. And my brother actually said, it's like you guys hit a hole-in-one and someone gave you a mulligan. But being a Red Sox affiliate now, if you watch a game on Nesson or you read a report in the Boston Globe, you will hear frequent mentions of Portland. He hit 258 in AA Portland. And when they say Portland on Nesson, people know it's not Oregon. And so those mentions are not a small thing, I think. And now that we're a Red Sox affiliate, we're attracting fans from all over New England. A lot of summer people who are here and figure out that there's a Red Sox team up here. I think it really does a lot for the region, hopefully. And while they're here, they're spending money at your establishments and feeling that much better about the city. So that's how we hope we are contributing to this community from a business perspective. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about my own personal views of the business climate here, given the audience today. And I know since this is a chamber group, I'm probably preaching to the choir a little bit here, but one of the things I love about Maine, and I'm someone who was also a summer person. I spent every summer of my life down in Kennebunk, had my first job waiting tables to Canadian tourists in Kennebunkport. But I chose to live here, and one of the reasons I chose to live here is because it's such a humble, low-key place that I think is full of a lot of really high-quality, low-key, humble people. However, I think there's a fine line between being humble and low-key and, in a business setting, being defeatist. And I worry sometimes, and I'm really pleased that Mike, I did not know Mike was going to tell that story about my dad. Mike was not alone in thinking the Sea Dogs was a terrible idea. And my first job out of business school was at Turner Broadcasting. And part of the magic of working at Turner Broadcasting was it was a company that was built on crazy ideas by a crazy founder. And his first crazy idea was putting WTBS, this rinky-dink local black and white station, up on a satellite, calling it the Superstation with Andy Griffith reruns, and beaming it to the whole country. Insane. It worked. His next crazy idea was launching cable news network out of an old country club building in Atlanta, Georgia, with no news operation. If it was a good idea, ABC, NBC, or CBS would have done it. They never did it. Ted said, what the heck, let's go. Did it. Huge success. And what that did in the company was there were no crazy ideas after that. So if you had an idea, why don't we try this? Why don't we take a bunch of old movies and start a classic movie channel? Great idea. There wasn't that knee-jerk defeatism. And my concern sometimes, not always, but sometimes in this area, in Greater Portland, an idea is floated, someone sticks their neck out, and it gets chopped off more quickly than it should. And whether that's, I don't want to get too specific, but I read things in the paper about someone wants to develop this site, or someone wants to launch this, that won't work. That'll cannibalize this. And there are a lot of people in this room who heard that when they were starting their businesses or building their businesses and didn't listen. And I hope as a community we will remember lessons like the Sea Dogs Because, you know, a lot of people, when my father passed away and when he was still living, they'd say, so who did he buy the team from? You know, now that it's successful, people think it was here forever. Well, it wasn't. And so that's my hope, I guess, for the business community here, that we walk that fine line between being humble and low-key, but not crossing over into being too aw shucks and defeatist. So I'll get off my soapbox. And I'm actually coming in under time, so we're going to have plenty of time for questions. I really appreciate your attention this morning, and with that, I'll open it up for Q&A. Thank you. Don't all jump at once.
From INS Insulation. I don't really have a question. I'm going on my third year as a season ticket holder. You guys are kind of my inspiration in terms of customer service. I'm just incredibly impressed from everything from the ticket office, how they manage my season tickets. You know, you become close personal friends with the ushers in your section. You know, I think it was Leona Helmsley that said, you know, I don't train people to be friendly. I hire friendly people. And you guys, even though she wasn't the shining example of that. But she always had that.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, but you guys typify that, and you've been an inspiration to me as a businessman. I always honestly say to myself, I want to treat my customers the way the Sea Dogs treat me. And
wow.
I just thank you for all of that and all the great people you have.
Thank you. Wow. Well, again, I point to the Sea Dogs table. That you know, one of the ways we think about it is treating everybody in the ballpark like it's their first time there, and like it's their first experience, and everybody's a VIP. And our new tagline this year too is a 9-inning vacation. And so we hope that's just great to hear, and I probably owe you $20 for that. Thank you. I would really appreciate that. No, and it's not an accident. It's a lot of hard work. But you're right. I think it's very hard, if not impossible, to train someone to be friendly. It's all in the hiring process. And it starts at the top. And Charlie Eschbach has created that culture. Jeff Iaquest is our recently named GM, named last year. They're that kind of people, and they attract that kind of people. So thank you. Yes.
Jamie Willey with Canteen Service. And I'd like to just mention that that the organization does things in small ways that have big impacts. And I have a 9-year-old at Ocean Ave, the elementary school here in Portland, and they had a recent event where and they're promoting walk to school, and Slugger was there, you know, giving high fives to the kids and stuff, and so with that, I'd like to make a motion to make sure Slugger gets a Portland birth certificate.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But those types of things are the outward parts of the organization that roll up and help in a lot of ways.
Thank you. Tough questions. No, we really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is John Shaberg with Air Graphics. I went to your site yesterday, was just checking it out, and was led to the place where I can watch the games online, which I was very excited about. It was pretty inexpensive for the whole season, but based on the schedule, it looks like you only have 3 games broadcast. Is there going to be more? I'm very excited about this concept.
Oh, great. I'll have to check and get back to you. I'm not aware of plans to do more, although the nice thing is that the production costs for those sorts of things are coming way down, and the transmission costs have come way down. If you have kids in college and they play sports, you can watch their games on their websites and that sort of thing. So you probably will be seeing more. Good thing is baseball is a great game on radio, and we do have all of our games on radio. Here comes a plug. We're now on the Big Jab for the first time on FM this year, so tune in tomorrow for a twin bill from Reading, Pennsylvania. So we will probably be doing more video. Baseball's a tricky sport because it does take a lot of cameras. And it's not inexpensive. We're also on Nesson usually once or twice a year, and certainly when we do Futures at Fenway, we're on television. So we would definitely like to do more. I'm not aware of any immediate plans to do so, but we'll certainly try. And listen on the radio, please. Yeah.
I'm Perry St. Louis, and you asked for a tough question, so I have one.
I didn't ask for one. I don't.
I went to 3 games last year, and each time I was sitting in rows with some young children, and each time Slugger came by, he was just walking back and forth, and the kids were waving and stuff, and I was yelling my foolish head off for Slugger to come up into the stands to greet the kids.
Yeah.
But he was making the kids come down to him, which seemed a little elitist to me. I'm just wondering why Slugger doesn't come up to the crowd and greet the children. Why do the kids always have to go down to him? I never saw him in at the 3 games that I went to. I never saw Slugger come up into the crowd. He goes up into the sky boxes where the rich people go, but where the Democrats are.
There were a lot of rich Democrats in town the other night, I thought.
Well, these parents were drinking beer. So
No,
why
yeah.
doesn't Slugger come up into the bleachers?
Yeah, I don't know which games you're at. He generally comes up and down the aisles quite a bit. So I don't know if it was
No, he doesn't.
Okay. Okay.
Could you look into that?
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Slugger's never been called an elitist, but no, I appreciate that. Well, look, we try to have him interact with people as much as we are being serious, and he does go into the crowds, and we'll have him do as much of that as he can. He has limited peripheral vision, I can tell you that. So when you ask for him from the side, it's a little bit trickier, but he does make his way through the stands. So, yes.
No more tough questions. Bob Smith, Sebasco Harbor Resort. Other people are telling a few stories, so I had to tell one. My daughter, who 20 years later works for ESPN in sports, went to a game with me when she was a child, and your dad was with President Bush at the time, and they were friends, I know. I suggested, the president is over there. She had a ball. She went over with the ball to get an autograph. The president gave her a big hug. She came back, sat down. I looked at the ball and it said, Bill Burke. Dan Burke, president. Sea Dogs. He waved to me. And to this day, she has that ball.
Oh, that's great.
And she's so excited about the fact that she met this big president of this Sea Dogs organization.
Oh, thank you.
I thought it.
That's very kind. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, he was. It was fun for my dad because he knew he was going to retire on his 65th birthday and spent a lot of time actually while he was still in that job planning for minor league baseball, and the goal was always he was not going to do it if he couldn't do it in Maine, and it was an amazing sort of second act for him to be up here and have that kind of you don't get that in New York City, you know, and it's great to hear stories like that, and we heard so many after he passed away last fall, because he wouldn't have told me I had to sign some kid's ball. You know, you don't know. You hear these stories now. We never heard them then. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you. Yes.
Hey, Bill. Justin LaMontagne with the Dunham Group. I wanted to thank you again for coming today. So I'm in commercial real estate now, but in a previous life, my first job in Portland was as an intern with the Sea Dogs. And that was funny. I was talking to Jeff and the guys. The whole staff is here today. I said, who's watching the shop right now? He said, the interns. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the importance of, the internship, apprenticeship program in, minor league sports especially, and what impact that has on the team as a whole.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Actually, that's something I should have included in my economic impact section. We hire a group of interns every year right out of school. Oftentimes they're sports management majors or just have an interest in sports in general. And as you know, or probably know, it's a very competitive field to get into. You don't just send your resume to the Red Sox and get hired. And so we have a program that works great for us. They're doing things like minding the store now. They work very hard in all aspects of the business. And then in most years, or oftentimes, there are some that we are able to hire full-time. Jeff Iaquesa, who is our general manager, came here as an intern. And one of the nice things is not only do we provide those working opportunities, we're also bringing them to Maine. Jeff's from Western Massachusetts, and he's now raising his family in South Portland. And that wouldn't have happened probably if we hadn't had that program. So the intern program is very important to us. If you have college-age children who might be interested, there's information about that on the website. But it's a great way for people to get in the business, learn the business, frankly, get something for their resume, and if it works out, stay here. If not, start a career in sports, which is a very difficult industry to crack. Any other questions?
I wanted to just make a real quick comment. My name's Carl Loomis, and work with the Chamber as a volunteer. But I wanted to let Charlie know how much I appreciate him being out front of the Sea Dogs, greeting people. And I think that's unusual to have the manager of the team out there meeting the customers and thanking them for coming and all that. I think it's fantastic. So I always make it a point to see Charlie whenever I go to the game. And Chris, that excellent job. I'm past Lieutenant Governor for Kiwanis, and the support you guys have given us has been incredible. And a lot of people don't realize all the Sea Dog does for all the community organizations, so we really appreciate that.
Thank you. Really appreciate that, too. And I think that was our final question or comment, and I thank you very much for your attention this morning. Thank you.